but we recognize it immediately. Okay, so the larger conscious system is communicating with us. If it's communicating with us about Uncle Fred, then it looks like Uncle Fred. If it's communicating about something else, it may look like, some other figure. If you happen to be very religious, it might look like Mary. If you happen to be, some other religion, it may look like one of your ancestors come to talk with you. It's just how it's the model of reality you build up in your own mind and your own beliefs, and you have to communicate to somebody through that filter. Otherwise, they won't get it. They won't understand. So the larger consciousness systems communicates with you in a way that makes sense to you. So your guides just form up out of the consciousness system and communicate with you, but it's a constant, consistent interface. It's your personal interface.
Well, let's talk about something that might be beyond just personal, and where there's a shared perception that's happening from, as you say, a historical bit in a database. And I'll give an example. One time I was in a group, we were doing some intuitive work, and people, one at a time, would go on a journey after an event, so that they were pretty loose in their consciousness, and they'd go on a journey. And sometimes I'd tag along with them, just for kicks, and be exactly where they were, with who they were with, seeing exactly what they were seeing. So in this kind of experience, what's happening? Because it was good only in that it was a validation for some people that may not have believed it.
That's very much like Dennis and I taking the out-of-body trip together. It's the same sort of thing.
So you're going to a historical artifact together. So it doesn't have to be, and the only reason I bring it up is because it's been, as you say, suspended or conjured in a way to have a familiarity. It's just that another person can go along, or multiple people can go along and experience that same artifact.
They can, and what they're doing is they are sharing the experience.
Yes.
Okay, we are consciousness. Consciousness is all netted. We communicate all the time. We can kind of link and share our consciousness. Another aspect of shared consciousness, and we share consciousness, we can do things together. We can like have a single shared experience. You can stand behind somebody at a lunch counter and taste what they're eating. You can just taste the pickle they're chewing, and you can get into their reality like that. It's data. And if you understand how, you can access that data. So you can share another person's experience. You can look through their eyes. You can feel their feelings, see what they're seeing, and be a part of that experience. If you take that to a little wider thing, you're talking about group consciousness. Now, group consciousness is basically, I use math terms, but it's a vector sum of all the consciousness that are in the group. If the group has a very low intent, then we call that mob consciousness, right? And we know that it degenerates to the very lowest common denominator in a mob. And there's a lot of people in that mob acting worse than they would ever act by themselves. Well, that group consciousness descends to the lowest common denominator among all those consciousnesses, the vector sum there. The same thing happens on the other side. You have a lot of people together who are growing, loving, caring, and supportive of each other. They pull each other up. Just like in the mob, they drag each other down. They pull each other up. That's a group consciousness effect. And then, that's the 100th monkey, right? The 100th monkey effect is that they're all part of a group. They're sharing. The consciousness is sharing. The experience is sharing. So people learn because somebody else learned in their group, and they're sharing it. So it's a big up kind of experience for them. And then you have even a bigger thing that's let's say human-wide or cultural-wide. And now you're looking at Jung's archetypes, where we all have certain kinds of symbols all across humanity and all kinds of cultures. We all have these symbols, and those are kind of group mind at the species level. So you have all of this going on, but the fundamental unit is an individual. And you can share or you can not share. It depends on your intent. You have to intentionally share. If you don't want to share, you can turn that off just like turning off a radio, and you're not a part of it.
Okay, I have another one for you then.
Okay.
This is another personal one that Scott and I have talked about, and my son and I have certainly talked about a lot because it involves him. My son, almost since his birth, who is now 27 years old, we seem to be experiencing, it's our own version, like you and Dennis, but virtually the same reality throughout our whole lives. and we don't, it's not contrived, we'll find out afterward, but it can be as bizarre as he'll dislocate his shoulder and I'll sprain my ankle the same day, or we both got a speeding ticket in different cities the same morning, ended up in the same speeding school class. The instructor didn't think that was very responsible of me. But it can be everything from down to the thoughts we're having. We'll happen to talk, maybe we haven't talked in a week or so, and you know, I've been thinking about this, and the other one will have been literally contemplating the exact same thing, but it's like that almost every day of our lives.
Yeah,
what's happening there?
You're sharing. Your consciousness and his consciousness are sharing a lot of data and a lot of experience. You're very close. You know, we can use another analogy. People overwork this frequency analogy. You know, you say like you're tuned.
Yes,
you
that's
know,
what I feel is it's a frequency
fork.
thing. Yeah.
Of course, frequency is just a metaphor. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with frequency. Frequency is a physical matter thing.
Is it better to say a resonance?
Yeah,
just kind
you
of
could
a
say
resonance.
a resonance is better.
Yeah.
So you have this closeness that resonates in his mind. His intent touches you all the time. He has an intent that kind of captures you and holds you in the back of his mind. So you're there. You do the same thing to him.
Even though it's totally unconscious.
Even though it's unconscious. You and he are close enough that he's a part of you and you're a part of him all the time.
Yeah.
We're netted. We communicate all the time. The two of you just communicate a lot more than you do, say, with other people. You constantly have this going back and forth. Your realities then tend to run parallel. To a large extent, as I discussed today, you create your own reality. Well, you two are on the same wavelength. You're going to create, you're going to interpret things similarly. You're going to kind of create a similar reality.
That would be true.
You're connected. And that's often between mothers and sons, mothers and daughters. You know, it's between best friends that grew up together and have always been best friends their whole life. You know, they know when each other is in trouble. One picks up the phone and says, I just thought I'd call, and the other one's just having a crisis. You know, they're connected. And we share with all consciousness. So if there's somebody on the other side of this planet somewhere, we can share with that person, or we can shut them out. We tend to share more with the people we love and care about and are close to. We tend to shut out those that we don't know because it's too much. We can't deal with all that information. Sometimes the people who are diagnosed as schizophrenic or mentally ill just can't shut it out. They don't know how to turn it off. And they do hear voices, and they hear stuff all the time, and it's very confusing to them. And of course the diagnosis is they're crazy. But basically they are hearing real voices.
Absolutely.
They just can't, they don't have the filter to filter it out, and the rest of us filter it out naturally. Eventually, once you understand reality, you can filter it out selectively. You can kind of turn it on, turn it off as you want. It's individual, but that's going on with your intent. You have lots of intentions that aren't intellectual. They never get to your intellect. You have a lot of intentions, things that you feel, things that you want, things that you're interested in. They're all, you know, are part of your consciousness, and all of those things are resonating with wherever they happen to go, you know, wherever they happen to be, wherever your intention sends them. Well, the ones between you and your boy are just more constant and a stronger focus because you both stay focused on each other.
Yeah, it's interesting, and sometimes we just laugh. I can't believe you just said that. I just bought a new pair of shoes this morning too, you know, or whatever. Well, let's talk about larger realities and predictive, I guess you'd say, tools. Have you ever heard of Cliff High? Do you know Cliff High's work by any chance?
No.
So what Cliff High does is he's done a lot of computer modeling and developed a lot of software in the past, but what he found along the way and now has been doing for the last decade is using mass global linguistics. And his software will analyze, kind of spidering into forums around the world or whatever the source is, and start picking up group keywords in various languages that start telling of what is rising from the group subconscious or unconscious as to future events, and has been quite successful in being able to put out there by way of, you know, predictions every few months what the future reality is likely to be. And now you're getting into kind of collective agreements, collective resonance. We're getting into going beyond time and space. What's actually happening there?
Well, there's several things, and like most things in reality, there's always several ways that